Okay, question 11. A survey of 1,000 adults. So I'm going to start noting down some important information. N equals 1,000. Found that adults in the country were very happy with 82% of residents. So P equals 0.82. Indicating that they laughed a lot the day before. Determine the approximate 95% confidence interval for the proportion of respondents in country A who indicated that they laughed a lot the day before. Okay, so in order to be able to work out the confidence interval, we need to find our z-score. So I'm going to go to our statistics function, and distribution, we're looking at the normal distribution because z-scores are normally distributed. Now, we're trying to find the z-score, so we're going to use the inverse norm. We're going to use the central tail because the 95% confidence interval means that there's 0.25 on either side. Okay, area is going to be 0.95. Standard deviation is going to be 1 because it is normally distributed. Okay, and our mean is going to be 0. So here we can see that our z-score is going to be equal to 1.96. Okay, so now I can look at my formula sheet and I can see that if we're looking for confidence intervals, we're given the formula there. Now, I'm not going to write out the formula. I'm just going to substitute straight into the formula because I don't really have the space here. So P in our case is going to be 0.82 minus, or this is plus minus because we'll end up with two answers. Our z-score of 1.96, we're going to square root 0.82 bracket 1 minus 0.82 all over 1,000. Okay, and when you punch that into your calculator, in the positive and negative case, you're going to get two solutions, and that's going to make up our confidence interval. So, menu, execute. So now I'm just going to input this in, 0.82 plus 1.96 square root, and I'm going to press my fraction button straight away, 0.82 comma 1 minus 0.82, close that bracket, all over 1,000. Execute. Okay, so our first one that we get there is going to be the upper, so 0.8438. Confidence intervals, we normally go to 4 decimal places. For statistics, well, most of our statistics, it is 4 decimal places. Then I'm just going to go back and change that one to a minus. Okay, and our other one is going to be 0.796. Okay, so now we're going to move on to the second part of this question. So a similar survey of 1,000 adults. So N equals 1,000 was also conducted in country B. So this is a different country altogether. It was found the margin of error in the approximate 95% confidence interval was half that of country A. So here, B equals 1/2 of A. Okay, so if we're looking at 95% confidence interval again, that means that our z-score is going to be 1.96. Now, confidence intervals are, the error, margin of error in a confidence interval is the second part of the equation. So really we're looking at this bit here, and we just want to enter it in with our new section. So here, we've got 1.96 square root of 0.82 minus 1 minus 0.82. 2 close bracket, all over, and we put 1,000 people again. We're stealing P is equal to 0.82 again, because we're saying they're roughly the same. And I'm just going to go back here. Now I'm just going to adjust my other formula by getting rid of that 82 at the front. So delete, 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 delete. Execute. Okay, and we end up with 0.0238. Now, this is country A. Now, we know that country B is half of country A. So all I'm going to do now is divide that answer by 2. And I'm going to get that it is equal to 0.01192. Yep, and that's our 4 decimal places. Okay, so that's the first part, but we haven't actually answered the full question. So we've used the margin of error section of this question. We've used this information at the top. The question is asking us to determine the possible values for the sample proportion of residents who laughed a lot the day before in country B. So we found the margin of error, but now we need to find the sample proportion for country B. So to do that, I'm going to take our score that it's equal to, and I'm going to let it equal the information that we've got over here, but now I'm going to leave the p-value blank so that we can find what our sample proportion is. So z-score doesn't change, still 95% confidence interval. But now I've got p bracket 1 minus p bracket all over 1,000. Now from this point you've got two ways to do it. Either you can rearrange it and it's going to become a quadratic, because when you expand this, you'll have p minus p squared. So you know you should be getting 2 solutions, or 1 or 0, but pretty much 2 solutions for this. So I'm going to use gsolve because I'm lazy. So option, calc, solve n, because we want it to give us 2 solutions. Shift equals 1.96 square root, fraction button, and instead of using p, I'm just going to use x just to save myself some time. And now I need to tell the calculator that we're solving for variable x. So like it says here, more solutions may exist. Okay, so in this case, it's only given me 1 solution. So here it's telling me that p is equal to 0.0383. Now, that's well and good, but I do know that I have 2 solutions, because if this is a z-score, we found the one that's down here closest to 0, but there's also one up here closer to 1. So in order to work out the second score, I'm going to do 1 minus 0.0383. 1 minus 0.0383. Okay, and that's going to give me 0.9617. Now, I'm not fully sure why solve n doesn't give you the other possible solution for this, because it should. If you look at their solutions for it, they've graphed the quadratic that you get after rearranging this, and that has the 2 solutions. So if you're happy with this solution, you can stop watching now, but otherwise I'm going to rearrange this formula, and then we're going to graph that, and we're going to see what solution we get. Okay, so 0.0119. Now I'm going to move this number across straight away. So divided by 1.96, and I'm going to take this surd and I'm going to square the other side to get rid of it. Okay, that's going to leave me with everything under the bracket. So now I'm going to take the 1,000 over and multiply this. Okay, and that's going to leave me with p bracket 1 minus p squared. So if I take all of this back to the other side, I'm going to be left with 0. Ooh, that's not squared yet. 0 equals. Now I'm going to expand this bracket and I'm going to put it in the proper order so that we can see what it should look like. 0. Okay, so now let's give myself some more space. Okay, so now this is the function that I'm going to graph so that we can see what the alternate solution looks like. So now I'm going to go down to graph minus x squared plus x minus bracket 1000 bracket fraction button, so 0.0119 over 1.96 close bracket square close bracket. Ooh, that bracket needs to be on the outside. Okay, so we've got a syntax error, which means I have put it into the calculator wrong. It just wants another bracket to finish off its brackets. Okay, still a syntax error. Look, I'm going to give up on this, but it would give you a quadratic, and then that would work out hunky-dory. Okay, that's it.